Well, hello everybody. Today we're going to demonstrate how we make ashes from palm leaves. So you're going to need a few things to do this. First of all, you need some old palms that are really dry. And you're going to need a fireproof container like we have here. This is like a little kettle grill. But really you could use an old cooking pot that you no longer need for cooking, or a large metal coffee can. Because if you're doing this at home, you don't have to do a lot at a time. So just a small thing like that. But a lid would be helpful if you have a lid, because then you can help to contain the fire. And you want to make sure that the container that you're using is clean of any other ash. So if you're using something, for example, like you're using your outdoor fire pit or something like that, make sure that there is no wood ash in it. That's very, very important, because wood ash, when it's mixed with water, creates lye. And lye will burn the skin. So you don't want to put that on your forehead. So make sure it's very clean, and then you can go ahead and start with your fire. So you take your palm leaves, and we've already cut some up here, but just take and cut them up to the size of your burning container. Okay? And once you've done that, then you're going to, and by the way, make sure you burn them outside. You don't want to burn them inside. Don't use any other kind of material to light the fire either. Don't put newspaper in or anything like that. You're just going to burn the palms straight out. Again, we don't want to mix with anything else. And so you take your lighter, your match, and you go and you get your fire going. If you have a metal implement, it sort of help it along a little bit. It's best to do this on a day that's not windy. We have a little bit of a breeze here today, so we're trying to do this in a very sheltered place, but it's really best to pick a very calm day to do this outside. Palms will burn pretty quickly. The other thing to consider is burning your palms maybe the day before you're going to make the ashes, because you want to be sure that the palm cools down completely before you go and try to sift it and make ashes. So we're just going to let this finish burning, and I want to kind of have you see what the finished product looks like. So you'll notice that once the once the palms are all burned, you have these little palm fronds of ashes here. And notice, if you can come in close a little, Kara, notice that they're still very, very hot. They're glowing red. So that's why it's really a good idea to make sure you burn these like a day in advance. And then you can let them cool completely. So once they're burned and the fire is out, put a lid on it. And now, just like most cooking shows, I already have another batch that's in progress. So what do you do next? Once you burn the palms, and they're nice and cool, then you need to sift the palms. So we can put them through a regular kitchen sieve like this with a nice fine screen. That's the best to use if you can do that. And again, you can just take a stainless steel bowl like I have here. This again is something that's best done outside. One year when I did this in the rectory kitchen, and the rectory kitchen was a mess with lots of fine ash dust. So you don't want to do that necessarily inside. But what you want to do is you want to take your palms. I got some of the fronds in here, sorry. I'm going to take your nice cool palms, and you're going to just take and you're going to press them through your screen. And you notice the fine dust that you get? That's what you'll have all over your kitchen if you try to do this inside. So we're doing it outside, where the wind will carry away all the mess. Okay, so you get as much out of it as you can. And then whatever remains you can kind of toss aside and then get some more. And again, you just press them through the screen. And just keep doing that until all your ashes are nice and ready. Okay, so once you have your ashes, and you can see how nice and fine those are, then you can take and put them in whatever container you're going to store them. I like to use a little, covered container. I'll put them in there. And the final step is the ashes as they are still a little dry to use. They won't really stick to your forehead. I mean, if I try to use these ashes and make the cross on my hand, you can kind of see it, but it's not going to be really great. So what you can do is take your ashes, oops, all right, and I like to use a little cooking oil. But the key to this is you don't want to put a lot in, okay? So you just want to put a couple drops in at a time, just a little bit, just to moisten the ashes. And then you're going to take and mix them up and let the oil coat the ashes. Kind of see how the ashes are starting to get a little darker. And just keep mixing them. Get that oil mixed in a little bit. And like I said, you don't have to use a lot, just a few drops, depending on how much ash you have. And you can probably see now how the ashes are a little darker and they're a little bit more sticky. So now, if I want to take and make the ashes on my forehead, oops, that wasn't a very good example. It'll stay a little darker. And that's, my friends, how we make ashes for Ash Wednesday.